years of pastoring, and during those years, I really struggled with making sure that we were doing discipleship in the biblical way. And so when I got out of pastoring and we're looking for a way to actually institute a process of making disciples, I found the C.S. Lewis Institute, and for me, it was a great home. We did 5 years in setting up the Institute, and those years were wonderful, watching students find their pace in their Christian life, finding their resources, finding their way of growth. We just had a wonderful time. I retired and went to play with my grandchildren for a little while, and through a set of circumstances, I had to come back and help the Institute get started for another year. I really have valued appreciate the invitation from the home office to come back and get started. I'm looking forward to another great year. I think coming back to the Institute, I've seen just a whole lot of growth and a whole lot of changes. I went to a directors gathering in DC, and happened to notice that they're working to be online effectively. They're doing video. They're doing all these things that are going to be so helpful as we try to help people become more like Christ. I think that's probably true. COVID has been difficult for all of us, but in some ways it's opened the doors for some new ways of doing this ministry. And so I'm excited about that. We're going to think about, how do we do this on into the future? Do we do it face to face? We all agree that that's probably the best. And yet there are many people who probably would like to do it virtually. So we're trying to figure all that out. What I've noticed about ministries, even the churches, we spend a great deal of time trying to market ourselves, trying to one-upmanship the other, all those things that go on and trying to attract people. I think I am, and I think we as a group at C.S. Lewis Institute are committed to discovering people. Someone at the directors meetings used those terms, and I think that's really true. We're not trying to market ourselves. We're not trying to get as many as possible. Size is not the issue, but I certainly do think that we want to find those people who are interested in pursuing a deeper walk with Christ and pursuing those skills that it takes to study the Bible and to have the skills to be able to interpret and express it out to this culture. And so that's why we're doing this. We discover people through personal relationships, through pastor-parishioner relationships. We discover people through our own fellows, graduates, and I think maybe that's the way to go. We would love to have people who are motivated and who are excited to be here, who feel like it's their next step. I think that's the most important, the people who know they need to take that step, or they know they need to get started in the first place, to take that next step and really dive in and get started in Christian growth. Satisfying thing to see how people have gone on. They've chosen to continue to mentor other people. They have chosen ministries, all those kinds of things. That's been very fulfilling for me. But I think even making phone calls, picking up the phone and talking to them and seeing how God has met their needs and seeing what they're pursuing now, those make the work seem very, very compatible with our hopes and dreams in life. And so I think that's one of the great reasons coming back to the Institute. I can see the progress that people have made. I was talking with a young woman last night on the telephone, and she was in one of our early groups, and she was struggling at the time to try to figure out what to do with her life and what God had for her, and she was struggling with college, and found out last night that she's finished her college degree, her undergraduate degree. Now she's off to grad school. She's going to pursue a PhD in philosophy and apologetics. Man, how exciting is that? That makes the work well worth doing. kinds of questions. How much work is it? Is it really hard? Do we have to read a lot of books? Do we study only C.S. Lewis? Let me see if I can run down a few of those questions and answers for you. First of all, we don't study only C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis is our namesake. And by the way, our founder, actually, one of our founders actually studied under C.S. Lewis at Cambridge. That's pretty cool, don't you think? But we don't study only C.S. Lewis. We certainly make him front and center, but there are many other people who have to speak in and inform the ideas that we're studying. So you're going to study many authors and you're going to study other people other than Lewis. Now the question is, do we have to do a bunch of reading? Yes, you're going to read some books. And yes, you're going to end up at the end of your fellows program with an excellent research information library that you can refer to for the rest of your life. It's not that you have to have the books sitting on the shelf. Many people do them add them to their computer, but at least you know where to go to get the answers. That's what we're looking for. You're going to have a mentor, someone who's speaking into the so-called academic side of your life. While you're a fellow, they're going to help you do the work that is being asked of you. Every month, the work looks like this. You're going to have a Bible study. You're going to have a response paper. You're going to have some reading. There are going to be some videos that you could watch and maybe even some audio that you could take a look at. And out of that, you write this response paper saying, this is what I've learned. This is what it means to me. And your mentor is going to go over that with you and give you some direction and help you fill out what you already have learned. Very exciting process. There's also a group of 3 or 4 people that you'll be with. You'll be with others and you'll be able to discuss with them what's going on and what's going on in your heart, what's going on in the books and in the reading. Find out what they're thinking about, what they're learning. It's very exciting as well because you build a community that you can get to know and you can relate to. You can pick up the phone and say, man, I don't understand this. How's it going for you? And then you're going to have a lecture. At the end of all of this study, you're going to have a monthly lecture where an expert, a pastor or a theologian or someone who's in the field is going to give you their take on the information. And it's going to kind of seal the deal, so to speak. It's going to kind of pull everything together. At the end of that 3-hour meeting on Saturday, we meet the second Saturday of every month. At the end of that Saturday, the question and answer period is going to pull all those pieces together. Hopefully at that point, you're going to have it well put together in your head and your heart. After that, we talk about community, we talk about fellowship, we talk about those other things that make being together fairly important. One of the questions I get asked a lot, at least these days, since I've been back working with C.S. Lewis, is what about virtual learning? Can we do it virtually? And the question is an interesting one because, frankly, the DNA of C.S. Lewis is to do it face-to-face, in-person learning. We believe that that's most important. So when you're applying to the Seattle program, you're going to need to be at least in some reasonable driving distance to Seattle. But the pandemic has opened some other doors. We've actually been online virtually for 2 years now, and it's opened our eyes to that there are other people out there who really would like to join us, but they're in the reaches of Canada or they're in California. We have allowed those people to join us as well. We're trying to get the process together where we could do a hybrid meeting and allow some of you who couldn't get to Seattle to join us. And lastly, one of the things that's most important to all of this is our opening retreat. In September, at the beginning of all of this, we're going to get everybody together and we have a 2-day retreat where we go over the process. We introduce you to your mentors. We get to know each other and we set our eyes and our hearts and our direction on finishing the program for the next 10 to 11 months. So that retreat is required. It's something that you need to keep in your mind that that's going to be expected of you. And even for you virtual people, if you're thinking about doing it, we would highly recommend that you take at least that one trip to Seattle. talking with you. I hope that I've answered most of your questions on this call today. Listen, if you have more questions, just give us a call. We want to get back to you or get those resources in your hand.